Never brush your teeth when you're wearing a black t-shirt.
I do it all the time. I always have a drip.
Yeah. Good advice, Stephen. Listen, welcome to NYU. Welcome to New York. I got to see the play the other night, and just delighted that you're here and that you're doing this. I'd known that it had been around in London before, and Anne was just telling me that you've toured this in a few places. I have a few questions, sort of about what it's like to take a play like this to different places and different audiences, but I want to begin, if I can, Stephen, about the length of time you've been thinking that this play has been sitting with you or stewing, and I'm curious about that question, and am I right that you recorded parts for this in the past?
I recorded all of the tapes.
Yeah.
It was more than 13 years ago now. It was more like 15 years ago, because
Yeah.
we've been doing this for a couple of years. So yeah, I just decided, I'd seen some productions, and I wasn't convinced by the early tapes. It's as cold as that, really. I just thought they didn't sound different enough to me, to the older actors I won't name.
Yeah.
But, so I decided to do it against the advice of my friend Sam Shepard, who thought, no, it's not a good idea. But
really?
I think he thought it was a bit of like method acting, but it was actually more superficial than that. I just wanted to sound different to the tapes.
Yeah.
When I spoke.
Yeah.
And then Anne asked me to do it, and I said I have the tapes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she collapsed on the floor and texted Vicky, and so
and you got it together.
They hired me.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we had the tape, so it was cheaper.
Well, it works, I think. I'm not being.
Yeah.
It does work, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
There's a significant difference in the being that's on the tapes.
I just saw a production that didn't with Ed Murray Abraham, who was here in the fall last year at the Irish Rep, which is a different experience with it altogether, but in a smaller room. I wondered about that. This is a big room. Does that change much for the way you feel the performance in terms of the spaces?
Well, I think the set is and the lighting and the design is the best I've ever seen for any Beckett play.
You beat me to it. I was talking with Richard Maxwell, a theater artist here in New York City, and he was asking me about the production. And the first thing I said was the lighting was just brilliant. It was really crisp, but it created the space in such an interesting way. And he said, make sure that's not the first thing you bring up. If you're talking with the actor, make sure it's not the first thing you point out is the lighting.
No.
He was pointing it out. But
I'm hugely proud, I must say, of this design, because it's the best design, in my view, that has come out of Ireland in many years. Yeah. Wow. And these guys are breaking boundaries. Wouldn't you say?
100%.
It's really
and I'm guided, of course, by what'd you say anymore? Vicky Featherstone. I mean, and by Anne. The whole production has an incredible ethos, and it makes it easier for. I mean, it's the whole invention of the darkness.
Yeah.
To which he throws things that he's finished with.
Yeah.
And fears his arrival at the same end. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I think there's something worth saying about the depth of the theater world in Ireland at the moment. That there's so many young people who've made a life, hanging on in the theater, and it seems like there's just a huge well of talent, and it's exciting when full productions manage to come here to New York, and we get to see a glimpse of what's kind of going on in theater in Ireland. But this play, I read this when I was a teenager, and it had a powerful kind of disturbance in me.
I recorded it when I was a teenager. No, I didn't.
When did you start? But you got into Beckett as a young actor. Did Beckett get a hold of you?
No, I don't think he got a hold of me, but
Yeah.
Donald McQuinney got a hold, who was a
Yeah.
big, he got Beckett to write radio plays.
Yes, yeah.
From having read
Yeah.
his novels and things.
Yeah.
And because Jack McGarren,
Yeah.
who had played Cloven, sorry, I'm going to talk too much.
No, I love that.
Cloven Endgame, and because poor Jack had died sadly, and they asked me to play opposite Pat McGee, and Jackie had given me my first job in London, you know,
Really?
and like I adore him, I still adore him.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
gone, you know, and so then I was part of an incredible group of Pat McGee,
Yeah.
Donald McQuinney, and Beckett
Yeah,
in that room.
yeah.
And I could tell him the story about Leslie Saroni, can I? Do you know that? It's a bit rude. There's Leslie Saroni was playing Nag in the bin,
Yeah.
and he was an old music hall artist. You can cut this if you don't like. And really, he was always out there, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And he carried a walking stick, which was actually a sword stick, so he could kill people if they attacked him. But he came into the rehearsal room one day, and McGee said, "Well, Leslie, how are you enjoying rehearsal?" He said, "I don't know what this cunt Bennett is on about."
Very good.
Which is funny, the
Yeah.
C word or the B word. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. Wow.
Sorry, I know you can cut it. You can cut it.
That's cool. You know, your question about does it feel different in different spaces,
Yeah.
though, it just made me think of something which I'd
Yeah.
forgotten about ages ago, because I became obsessed with Beckett's notebooks,
Yeah, I was going to ask.
his own
yeah.
notebooks about the production
Yeah.
that he did. But I think we thought that it's very much about the audience finding their way into it, rather than Stephen playing with the audience. It's very much about the sort of journey of it, which is very much a kind of internal thing. So we tried to create something which was as the same as possible wherever it went. And of course,
Okay,
different
yeah.
audiences respond to it in different ways, but there's a really interesting stage direction in the sort of text that you get,
Yeah.
where it says that he drops the banana and then he pushes it off the edge of the stage.
Yeah, yeah.
And then in Beckett's notebooks, he just
Struck
like in
it
the
out.
70s, struck it out and said
Yeah.
he didn't want that to be the case anymore, because it made it clear that the performer was aware of the audience and being on a stage. So I really jumped on that.
Okay, yeah.
So
I
he
understand.
moved away from that.
Yeah,
That idea that there's this, you know, you're when you get the banana out, you're entertaining yourself. You're not entertaining the audience.
yeah.
Which I think it's just a very interesting thing.
It is. And it's also, it brings up this question that my students were magnetized by in talking about the play, which is the range of comedy, like the different kinds of comedy that you're operating with and creating at the same time, right? So that, and then from the range of the sort of broad slapstick to the emotional kind of weight and heaviness of, and also the sort of paralyzing, end of the play. It's an incredible range of experience, and yet it's all. I wonder if you'd agree that it's modulated or controlled by the apparatus or by the tape, in the machine. I'm fascinated by the question of how timely the play feels in relationship to just mediation, right, and devices and people recording everything in their life, everything that happens to them. I just think it's astonishing how this play manages to speak to the moment that we're in. And it did to me as a teenager. So I was wondering if that was part of your impetus to sort of say, I want to get, we're in a crisis with this question of like everything being surveilled and recorded, and the idea that meaning is kind of being offloaded into its capture or its tape, as it were.
It's an interesting one, that, because I normally do new plays, so plays by writers who are still alive.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I never question the relevance of it because it's been written now.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is, and it's good, therefore it is, well, we can go, it's relevant because this is one of the issues, or this is one of the things.
Yeah.
But I've had the luxury in most of my career not to have to justify that.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So when we started approaching this, I felt that actually this play has endured for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my job is only to find out what is extraordinary about it and put it on stage as the most brilliant version that we can do at this moment in time.
Yeah.
And then people will bring whatever they bring and find out whatever they find out. But we never tried to go, we trust Beckett and we trust ourselves that the act of this will have resonance.
Yeah.
I didn't try to discover it.
In a sense that, would accord with the way Beckett always thought about what he did, right? Which is that he envisioned something and the text was there to make that vision happen again and be available again. So this is like, I can't imagine something that's closer to what I imagined in my head when I first read the text of the play than this version of it, displaced any other kind of a vision that I had of it, which I guess just means to say you're doing what you're setting out to do, right? The humor question and the body play in it, is that, I wonder about how you approach that, Stephen. Did it take a lot to get into it, or was it all there for you right from the script? Did it take a lot of work to get Krapp to be Krapp?
To limp?
Yeah, to limp. Well, you've got the way you move in the play is notable.
I think the thing is that he says he's at a certain age, which nowadays people wouldn't be so old. They wouldn't have the condition of age in the same way. You know, but I just still felt. I thought about Jack McGarren, who's so strange, even when he was only 40.
He'd been living hard. Right?
Yeah. So that was always Beckett reminds me of Jack.
The word I think is warish. A warish man, which is one of the stranger words, but it gets at something about, I think, somebody who did some rough sleeping, or you know what I mean, like someone.
Is warish a word that you found in the dictionary?
No, I found it in the play.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's very precise, and it's like the fifth word in the text or something, right? It's a warish man, and I just think for Beckett that word has a history behind it that he doesn't need to specify, right? Except, when you go off stage and you hear the bottle and the cork and the glass and that kind of wears into this question of what is Krapp's body carrying, like how is he sort of carrying things physically? Because it's a very interesting concept that so much of the action of the play happens on tape and is recorded, or the action of his life. And it's all present there. One of the things you do my class is seeing the play tomorrow night. A few of us saw it last week. Is you create a vacant face. You're seized, and so we can see the gears or see the memories kind of flooding in. That, it seems to me, is something as an audience member is very reaches in.
Yeah.
Sort of, it's got grab to it. That performance of being vacuous for a little minute, but also lost and sort of thinking. I don't know as an actor how you project remembering.
I worry about offering too much to the audience, but there's just some of it, he hears it and he thinks, what was I thinking of, when I said that,
Yeah.
Also, he's been seeking that tape out to get a feeling.
Yeah.
To find a thing.
Right.
That he doesn't quite know, he can't quite remember or what it is. So he's sort of empty.
Yeah.
Because he's in a vacuum until he starts. So you sort of fill him up.
I agree with that, definitely, but to me the question of like the meaning of life and it coming in the idea of what you say about it and what you write about it, that creates a crisis in this play, right? I mean, and bringing the audience along to that crisis, it seems to me, is how the timing works so well. So again,
but he doesn't start the play going, my life has been a crisis.
No.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I understand.
He starts the play going, I've just come back from having a drink and I've got to do my tape soon.
Yeah.
And I want a banana. But that's what's so brilliant about what Beckett does, because his dramaturgy is incredible. That you don't. I hate plays or acting where there is a secret from the audience that they never get.
Yeah.
I think amazing theatre is theatre where we go together.
Yes, I understand.
And that's why, like, in massive spaces, like we did it in the Barbican, which is like 1,400 seats, and it was sold out for the whole week. And it was the literal silence as they followed Stephen, I mean, apart from when they laughed. But I think that's because, exactly what you say, we're literally going, what is he hearing? What's he feeling from what he's hearing? What does this mean to him? He doesn't know what he's going to feel when he hears the tapes, so it's kind of magical for us as well.
Because Beckett's so wary of so many things. He didn't want to make certain kinds of mistakes. He didn't want to indulge in certain things. And what he said about Krapp's last tape was often that it was sentimental, right? That there's some sentiment behind it. And I'm fascinated by those little flashes that you get that echo other parts of his work. Right? And I think that his thinking about McGowan, if I'm correct, he heard the BBC recording that McGowan had done of the parts of the trilogy.
I think it was McGee.
It was McGee.
McGee.
Sorry, that's right. Yeah, it was McGee. Yeah.
But he adored the McGowan more than any other actor.
Yeah. But the question of things that happen in Sam Beckett's life that filter into his plays that we try to give sort of significance to, and Beckett's so careful to sort of pull back from indulging in the idea of that was significant because it happened to me. His wariness, right? He's just so wary of like saying it's important because I'm Sam Beckett. It's just anathema to him in a way. But in this play, he hacks at the memories, right? Literally, like stops himself from going into the memories. And yet some of them, I think, in their by being fragmented, they're in a way augmented, right? So the slightest little thing about the dog and the ball, the memory of being in Crowan, right, in the hills, right, with the bitch. It's a little tiny little shard, and it's more than he allows himself in most other texts in a way. But I was fascinated to see how those kinds of things work within the question of the tape, and then the anger that you summon up the frustration that happens. I think that's also brilliantly.
When he doesn't listen to he wants to stop the tape.
Yeah, he's, when you
spiritually.
Yeah, or then when you just sort of rip it out and throw it away.
But he is a sort of self-saboteur, I think, hugely. I mean, that's not something I would impose on you, but by watching it, you sort of go, this is somebody. He throws things away.
Yeah.
Because for loads of different reasons, and people are like that. And I think for me, that's the big tragedy, or one of the tragedies of his character or his story.
Yeah, there's the loneliness, the aloneness of this character and of this set, right? It's really.
But he also doesn't want, in that frustration bit where he does the 3 times with the tape. At that point, he doesn't want to hear about his enlightenment that made him understand how to become a great writer, because he didn't. So that is like the worst thing ever to hear. What he wants to get to is my face in her breast.
Yeah.
Because then that will give him comfort. That's the bit he's looking for.
Yeah. But of course, it didn't end that way for Beckett, because he did become a great writer.
Yeah.
You know.
And he did have this epiphany, you told me.
Yeah, he had that epiphany
Yeah.
on the end of
Yeah.
the pier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or in his mother's bedroom.
Was it in his mother's bedroom?
So yeah, this is a very interesting thing because there's a spectacular bit in the middle of Malone Dies, where he talks about being alone on the jetty in the storm and the wind and the rocks, and it's my favorite bit in all the prose. It's a rocking couple of pages, and he told was this Dan Kantarsky or that this connects to other scenes, connects to the memory of the scene in Krapp's last tape. But in fact, his epiphanic moment was sitting in the dark while his mother was dying in her bedroom, where he just said, the only thing is writing. I just have to write. I have to stop. Just everything else, nothing matters. And then that's when he goes back to be in Saint Lo, right, and work at the hospital there in order to get back to the life of writing. But so he does have this experience at the end of the jetty, you know, the pier in Dunleary in a storm. But the revelation of the incandescence of clarity, he'd situated in this quiet moment in the middle of the night in his mother's bedroom as she lay dying. You know. Well, you know. But also Beckett, you know, he's properly wary of having biographical, you know, he's said he's not the interesting figure here. Of course, I'm violating that by reading biography and reading it into the sort of work in that sense. You met him, Stephen? You got to work with him?
I worked with him.
Yeah.
He was in the room all the time with
Yeah.
McQuinney and
Yeah.
McGee. So I was surrounded by genius, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
because, you know, let's not underestimate McQuinney, who
Yeah.
got him to write plays, you know.
Yeah.
And I worked several times with McQuinney, but and McGee was extraordinary.
Yeah.
But I was overwhelmed really by Beckett himself. You
Yeah.
know, really and truly. So I'll tell you one or two things that he said. And I asked him the meaning of a particular line, and he said, "Don't think about meaning, think about rhythm."
Yeah.
And that stuck with me forever. And he also said, I asked him when Clove says, "I leave you," in a particular, but he says it frequently, but I said, when he says, "I leave you," at this point, does that mean he's going to the kitchen or he's going for good? He says it is always ambiguous. Right, so I think those are two great notes about modern acting, instead of them being kind of, you know, intentional. I'm going to want to kill somebody. I want to, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just more poetic as well, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we're still on about it. Still,
I know.
directors are still on about the intentions. You know. It's just think about rhythm.
Yeah.
It's interesting because a long time ago, I worked with Sarah Kane on her play Crave.
Yeah.
And she wrote that when I was artistic director of Payne's Plough. And the big thing, and I had not really, I mean, I'd read Beckett, but not studied Beckett in any way. And the big thing about that play for her was it was always, so she would tell us where an idea for the line had come from, but not to be played like that, just so we didn't wonder.
Huh.
So we were free to be ambiguous.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the whole thing about that play is it's only about the meanings and the rhythm.
Yeah.
And I find that so extraordinary that writers can do that. I find it amazing that they're not stuck in what is literal
Yeah.
and what do words next to each other mean.
I think spool.
Yeah.
Just there's so much pleasure in gray. You know, but Beckett takes words apart and has the micro attention accents. You know, just since we've been here, I've heard you have 3-4 different voices come out. That attention to the sonic texture and flavor of a word, right? Mm-hmm. And its obsessional quality or incantatory quality in a way, right? It emerges in the play where we're on spool,
But also the layers of the play where he can't remember that he's used words.
Yeah.
Like vacuity And what's the one about her eyes? Chrysolite.
Yeah, chrysolite, yeah.
Stephen does this so beautifully. It's like, wow, that's an amazing word. Who would use a word like that? You know, you're surprised by the words that you've already used when you were younger.
Yeah.
So it puts even more of a spotlight on them.
Yeah, yeah. I also think, you know, to go back to the question about the humor, you know, there's spool and stool, you know, that are sort of echoing off each other, and then this question of the constipation and the banana eating, right? And so the oral and the anal and the body that's in front of us is also the body that we're learning about and sort of hearing about is the desire, like the generated desire from the young man to the sort of older visitor of prostitute who's
Our friend Fanny.
yeah. Yeah, our friend Fanny. But that's again, part of, I guess, what comes out in conversation sometimes is just your admiration for the genius of the construction of it, which, as someone who teaches this, I teach a course where we read pretty much 85% of what Beckett wrote over a semester.
Wow.
And it's a forced march from the beginning through to the end. This sits right square in the middle of it. Everything subtracts really from here forward. Although he wrote All That Fall just after this, which is kind of another, more Irish in its setting and its memories and everything. Which reminds me that Stephen and Seamus Dean first introduced me to you in the Harcourt Street train station.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the late 90s when it opened up and became a bar, and I'd walked in and I'd always wanted to go in the building. It had been abandoned and locked up. And then some nightclub opened it. And I remember speaking with Seamus about it and Beckett's sort of memories of it and how it's present as the beginning of All That Fall.
Okay.
Yeah, Seamus.
Well, Seamus, one of the best, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Huge mentor figure to me. So.
And to me, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about Beckett often in relation to Seamus, because the rare geniuses that come along, to sort of know. Yeah.
I don't know how they tolerated me, but they are wonderful.
Yeah. What did I want to ask? I did have another question. I don't want to ask about other Krapps, other performances of this, because that's.
You already mentioned one, really.
Not
but I didn't name them.
No, you didn't. No, so not by naming them. And as I said, this really does displace any other kind of version of the play in my head, just because it seems so close to what I had experienced over the times that I've taught it and read it myself.
Well, I agree with you, and that's one of the miracles for me that we managed to achieve that. You know.
Yeah. Who's the lighting, by the way? Who's
Paul Keoghan.
Paul Keoghan, okay.
I think it's very interesting though, because we talked a lot with the creative team and about what sort of a production it was going to be, and we were just very clear that the sort of things which Beckett was telling us in the play were about light and dark.
Yeah.
Were about sort of loneliness.
Yeah.
It wasn't about stuff. And he does this. If you obviously have read those notebooks where there's in the script that everybody gets, all the stuff is on stage at the beginning, which implies that there's clutter.
Yeah.
I'm like, we don't need clutter. We know where this man lives. We need to experience his existential crisis that he's going through.
Yeah.
I don't need to see what his
so
house
the
is
abstraction
like.
of it.
Yeah.
It works perfectly there. I don't know what it's like as an actor to be on stage and then have the light come up the way that it does, because it's very gradual, and as an audience member, I'm struggling to see Krapp, and that
I've made it
immediately...
quicker here because the audience weren't settling.
Really?
It used to be longer.
Really?
Yeah.
Impatient New Yorkers.
They thought it was still time to be on the phone because he hadn't said anything yet, so he just smashed it.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, that was fascinating because it creates a time before, like when does
Yeah.
it begin, right? And so we've already begun.
Yeah.
I don't know when we began,
Exactly.
but we've already begun. So that it blurs that.
Yeah.
But then the strain of trying to see,
Yeah.
right, is the central question of the play. Is
Yeah.
like Krapp trying to see
Yeah.
himself, see clearly, right? So it creates that investment already.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, in a kind of degree of confusion. Right?
Yeah.
I guess, of course, you never really see, wholly in that kind of basic sense. The ending, the mouthing, and sort of, that doubling that happens of a voice, right?
Mm.
Is it issuing? I found that a challenge to appreciate, like the issue of timing, like you speaking, not speaking, listening or not listening, hearing or not hearing, right? Of what's Krapp's saying. Yeah, I don't know how that featured as the piece you had to really work on.
Do you mean when Stephen's doing the speech?
Yeah, at the end, yeah.
So before he throws that one away, not
Yeah.
the last.
No, just at the very,
At the very end, when you listen to the tape for the last
very
time.
end,
Yeah,
the very
and,
end.
And,
Oh, that, yeah.
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 Well, I didn't think about the meaning.
No, you didn't. You
About
thought
the
about the rhythm. Yeah.
And it's
No, that's-
definitely.
Yeah.
And the thing that it was in my head, but again, it's not meaning, was that when we first started doing it, my dad had just died, and I just remember, that death mask thing that happens
Yeah.
when people die, and they do that sort of,
Yeah.
and they sort of like have their mouth goes bizarre, and I thought it sort of felt like that to me, but not as in Stephen should be gasping for breath. It was, again, it's not literal.
No.
It was just like that. We talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
That there's something in that as well. Yeah, and also the fact that, he's been there forever when we discover him, and he
Yeah.
will be there forever in this sort of purgatory as well. And that for me was really important. That he's sort of still there now, whether he's alive or dead, he's just there. That's his lot.
That's a Beckett sort of concept in a way, right? The purgatorial,
Yeah.
self-examination.
And he has nothing to
where
say.
does it end? Where does it end? Right? If you believe that that's what you're supposed to be doing, where does it end?
One of the most powerful bits for me in the speech is when he takes the envelope, throws it away, because he looked after it so carefully.
Yeah.
I love the sound of it. I mean, he folds it up, puts it in his pocket and everything, and then he throws it away. He goes back with the microphone and he says nothing to say. I'm like, my God, that's literally none of it. That's desperate.
Because that's the
Point.
that's the point. That's
been
where,
his point.
Yeah. I thought about that, discussing that little moment with my students about Joyce. One of the things that Beck noted about Joyce was that Joyce was always taking scraps of paper and writing things down, right? It was Joyce's method to just grab sort of
Right.
everything. And that Beckett got that central realization that his contribution was going to be in subtracting and less getting rid, sort of throwing away. And I think that's a consistent, with the way that Beckett thought. It's such a privilege to get to teach this stuff, to introduce students to it, and then when they can actually see it be performed, it's a very different thing. All my students in this class are Tisch acting students.
Oh, wow.
So, and they're all in different studios, 3 or 4 different studios around town that they're studying in. So, there's a lot to sort of work out with them about what they saw and how do they think about what they saw.
How interesting.
I'll report back after Thursday night's class. Thursday night's
It's It's really
performance of
interesting.
it. The run goes for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we finished this Sunday.
Sunday.
coming.
Sunday, yeah. Tiring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always tired when it's over,
Yeah.
but I don't feel tired when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But,
Can I
Do you get any energy from coming to New York, from being in New York? I mean, it's not a great time in the national life in some ways for people to visit from Ireland, but
it's very noisy.
yeah.
Where we're staying is very, very noisy.
Mm. Yeah.
I used to get energy from New York.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not here long enough. I know I
Yeah.
just got to.
You're just here to work, yeah, I
Yeah,
understand. Yeah. Get it done.
An interesting thing, though, that sometimes Stephen talks about, which I think is about that you don't give your, before you start the show, you don't put things in your head to think about for the show.
I don't.
You don't go, oh, tonight I'm going to try this or this. You trust the experience of being there, and you let yourself discover things with it.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting, if you don't mind me having pointed that out when you talk about that. I think it's quite magical.
Well, you know, it doesn't matter what I feel when I get down there and sit down and wait for the. What do you call that thing?
Kabuki. The kabuki.
You know, then I'm in it.
Yeah.
You know.
So you're not still working on it, you're in it. In other words, it's...
Well, I know. It's not true that I'm
Yeah.
not. I look at the text every day.
Yeah, yeah.
But sometimes I
Yeah.
see Stephen have a thought or a response to something that he said that I've never ever seen before. It's incredible. Do you agree, Anne?
On,
And it's kind of like amazing.
on stage.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, every night there was
Oh, so I
something I'll
should-
go, wow,
yeah.
now I
gotta see it
understand
more.
that bit in a
Yeah.
different way, and I thought
Yeah.
that's about it, and now something's opened up, a door opens
Yeah.
up of like, wow, that's something.
Yeah.
It's kind of incredible.
Oh, I get what you're saying about what an artist does with an artist's work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. It can't happen
Yeah.
unless they're in the space together doing it.
Yeah.
We can have a conversation about something, but actually it's the artist, the space, the audience, and then something.
Yeah. It's a treat. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you
And
for-
thank you, Anne. You know, I wanted to bring you into the conversation because I realize things don't happen without someone who pulls them together, right? And
No, absolutely.
who takes risks and but who trusts people with time and money and effort. And so that question, how theater gets made and how production can move around the world the way this has, and bring you, Stephen, here to let us experience it, it's a great gift to us. It's a great gift to the community and to the university community, certainly.
Thank you
So
very
I want
much.
to thank you for that, Anne,
Thank you.
absolutely. And thank you, Vicky, and certainly thank you, Stephen.
Thank
And
you
thanks
so
for
much. Thank
doing
you.
the hard work and bringing it alive for us. It's really something. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
John.
my pleasure.